So I actually had high-key decided that I wasn't going to film today and probably start filming tomorrow just because I got... Wait, you can't even see. I got my COVID and flu at the same time. Almost everyone I know except one person who's gotten COVID and flu at once was just out the next day, and I was like, if I'm gonna be out, is it a good idea to start filming today? And also I'm so busy. But you know what? I'm gonna feel bad on random days, and I'm gonna be busy every day, and we're just gonna film. We're gonna do a vlog. Hi, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you are a returning viewer. My name is Lindy Jung. I am a science fiction and fantasy author pursuing traditional publishing. In this vlog, we are going to write some books, or write a book, actually. It's honestly been kind of a minute since I've done like a regular, here's what's going on in my life vlog versus more of a challenge vlog. So to catch you guys up, it's currently October 4th. I am working on Project Crypts, which is a gothic tinged fantasy with a touch of romance, very moody, very atmospheric. It's got a vengeful female main character, a haunted house, and a whole lot of ghosts, which is like my favorite thing to write for some reason. Since it's the start of October, I wanted to like kick off the month in a good way. I feel like I've definitely been in a bit of a rut in terms of writing just because so much of my life was taken up for months by the process of finding an agent and querying, and that really took the wind out of my sails for a little bit in terms of writing and creativity. But I have taken the time to kind of refill my well. I've been reading quite a bit. I actually want to read a lot more, especially classic gothic novels, to kind of get that voice just seeped into my skull. And another recent thing that happened is that I completely just threw away my previous draft of Project Crypts. So there are a couple of videos that were like episode 1 and I think 2, maybe 3, and those were basically the first couple weeks slash month of me writing that project and drafting it in serious drafting phase, but it was also very heavily overlapping. But that time period also very heavily overlapped with mods being out in the query trenches and all of that stuff. So I also felt really dissatisfied with what I wrote during that period. I think I probably got like close to 10,000 words into the draft. I'm aiming for like an 80-90k draft on this one. And yeah, I just didn't feel good about it. I wasn't clicking with the characters. The world felt good. I'm really proud of the world building I've done here. But the characters, the story, it all felt really generic to me. Those elements didn't speak to me on any level, and I wasn't as excited about the project as consistently as I wanted to be. So I scrapped it. I scrapped the whole thing. And I had this opportunity because my agent likes to see a pitch and synopsis before I fully start working on a new project. So as I was preparing the synopsis, I was like, oh, here's an opportunity for me to really kind of reshape the story and make it what I want it to be. And so I did that. I love the new direction. The main thing, and it seems like a small change, but it's actually been such a big change with so many like consequences. The main thing I changed was making the main character revenge seeking. Although the basic surface level details of the plot are pretty intact, at least the setup is, it just completely changes like her trajectory. Like changing her motivation and her goal has completely changed the flavor of the story and brought it closer to a theme that isn't like the main theme necessarily, but one that I really wanted to explore with this main character, which basically has to do with being diaspora. So it all came together so nicely, and I sent off the pitch and synopsis to my agent. I had full approval, so I feel really confident about it. I feel really good. I don't have a lot of words in yet. I have just under 1,000. All of this happened super recently in terms of the approval and all that stuff. So I have just like under 1,000 words in right now. I did write by hand quite a bit. I'm going to transcribe that in right now before these shots hit me. And I'm also going out to lunch in a little bit here, so I'll have to work quickly. Yeah, so this is just gonna be a vlog over the next week or so, which is also next week. Thursday is my birthday, October 10th. So you'll see a little bit of that, but it'll just be like a realistic week in my life, how I've been juggling work and YouTube and school and writing. Not very well, but I am doing my best and starting to get my bearings a little bit more. So I'll just take you through my week and we'll hang out and we'll write a little bit.
Hi, VoiceOver Lynn here. So since October is officially the start of spooky season, we went out to a local farm stand by the side of the road and looked at all these beautiful pumpkins, beautiful gourds, and also picked out a couple of pumpkins to carve into jack-o'-lanterns later in the month.
So I got these teas from Plum Deluxe. They sent them to me as a very generous gift a little while ago, and I'm finally going to try them.
Close the door. We're back. Yesterday was kind of a bust. I had a headache already, so it just got worse and worse and worse. Took an Advil that eventually cleared. I think I was super lucky in that a headache and some tiredness were kind of my only issues. And today I feel totally fine, knock on wood. Didn't really get anything done yesterday. I loafed on the couch and was on my phone pretty much the whole day, which is terrible. Oh, also, I have a ghost mug. Oh, the tea is super nice. I put a shit ton of sugar, but it's really good. In other words, yesterday was kind of not my best moment in terms of productivity, which is okay. So hopefully today can be a little bit more productive. One thing that I did forget to mention is that I do have like a soft, not even a deadline, but a soft time period that I want to get this draft of Crypts done by and also get the book to my agent. I basically told her I'd have like a finished version to her by spring of next year. So I was thinking like April, May, which means that I'd probably want a solid draft done February at the latest. You know, I'm very bad at gauging my deadlines ahead of time, but I think a good start is important. So I'm going to try to get at least 2,000 words done today. My goal right now, it's around noonish. I'm gonna do 1,000 words in this session, and that includes kind of like transcribing the rest of what I didn't transcribe yesterday. I have been like drawing and painting again. I don't know why. I don't know. These are kind of wacky, but I have, you know, just some gouache paintings. Been doing like portrait stuff and like character sketches. So I'll give myself a break to do that. Painting and drawing have just been very like calming for me. Part of me is like, oh, I'm feeling the pressure of being agented again and pursuing traditional publishing. I want like an artistic outlet, a creative outlet that doesn't have that kind of pressure to succeed or even do all that well. So I'll show you guys a little bit of that as well as I'm painting over my sketches that I did last night. And other than that, I think I have some homework. I have a novella that I am editing for someone through my Patreon, which I offer every quarter. Oh, I do have to edit a video as well and prep for my clients tomorrow for my job. You know, not that big of a deal. I'm gonna start by actually loading up and editing that video that I filmed. It'll be out by the time this is out, so it's like AuthorTube channel recommendations, just people that I've been really enjoying and discovering in this space that I wanted to do for like 20k subscriber celebration slash my birthday, I guess. So I have to edit that video and hopefully I want to upload that tomorrow. My upload schedule's been getting a little zany, but yeah, so that's kind of just what's going on, like a mix of school stuff and work stuff and AuthorTube stuff and also writing and hopefully some time for painting just to keep myself happy. So let's go ahead and get started. Traditional publishing, and welcome to my channel where I talk about my writing. Red dot. Okay, just a pause because I got a package in the mail and it actually was from my friend Kristen and she got me a brand new mic. I haven't set it up fully yet, but I'm so excited to do a little bit more of this vlog and test out this mic. So my hair isn't fully dried, I've just started my morning coffee, but hello. It is Sunday, October 6th. Yesterday was fine. I wrote 1,000 words. I know that from my word count tracker. I wrote like a little bit over 1,000 words and some of that was transcribing, some of that was just like writing out some scenes. I feel like I'm still kind of in the stage where I'm experimenting with the voice. I think the voice of the opening page and a half is very strong, and then when I go to like write scenes where stuff actually happens, that's not just like descriptive, atmospheric, I lose that voice a little bit. And I think that's just like a common theme across all of my writing experiences, is that yes, description, it's really easy to get your voice in. Action or even dialogue to an extent, like conversations, not so much. It's just a little bit less naturalistic for me, like I have to think about it a bit more. So that's something I've been running into. So for today, it's currently almost 11. I do have like students and stuff. I have my job for like 4 hours today. It's a really laid back job. It's actually been working really well with my schedule. The only thing is that I live about like 50 minutes away from it. So getting there to work like an hour a day at times was kind of a pain, but now I've like made it so that I'm there for at least 4 hours, 3 hours. So I'm gonna go and do that in a little bit here, but I have some time. I'm going to take a look at my planner to figure out what I need to get done before Monday, which is probably a million things if I'm being honest. And for today, I think my writing goal is gonna be like 500 words. And I want to go back to chapter 1 and really start to flesh that out. My overall goal for this week of vlog is to have chapters 1 and 2 relatively sketched out, relatively complete. I have not done a chapter by chapter outline for this book. I did have one for the previous iteration before the main character's entire like agenda and self changed. So this is kind of interesting. Like I'm working off that. I'm working off of my very detailed synopsis that I wrote, but the structuring of the chapters is going to have to be pretty intuitive, if that makes sense. And I kind of like that. Although I do like a chapter by chapter outline, I don't think it's necessarily the most useful tool. It's good for sketching out scenes, but often I find out that when I'm actually drafting, some scenes take up less space, some scenes take up multiple chapters. So it's actually a complete guess as to how the timing of chapters actually works out in the book itself. This time around, we're going to be a little bit more intuitive about it. And yeah, so that is my update. I will catch you guys up at the end of the day or tomorrow, depending, and I'll kind of show you guys what I get up to today. Bye.
Look who jumped on my lap of her own volition. Look who likes her stepmom. Yes, my step baby.
So, just finished work. I just had like 4 students over 4 hours, so I'm a little bit exhausted. And now I have to drive home for 50-ish minutes. I'm going to see if I can get some writing done tonight, but I might just like have dinner and crash. Tomorrow should be a little bit better because on Mondays I'm just like at school for the afternoon, and then hopefully I should be good to like come home and do some productive things. I'm gonna drive home. I'll catch you guys up the next time I get writing done. Bye.
It's Monday morning, October 7th, around 9 a.m. because I have been waking up later and later. I have my coffee, so hopefully this will wake me up. So I do have to go to school today, by which I mean I'm going to not my school, but high school, so I can watch a classroom. A lot of my master's degree involves like actually spending time in those spaces that I want to teach in for writing stuff. I just got like a couple words, like literally 10 words probably. Another thing I'd like to do is catch up on homework because I am behind always on homework. And so that's what I'm going to focus on for the first like hour or so here. Hopefully if I have time in the second hour from like 10 to 11, then I can like write just a tiny bit, but I will be home by a reasonable hour. Oftentimes I'm home by like 8:30 p.m., but today I'll be home by like 5 at the latest. And I've fallen into kind of a bad habit of when I get home, no matter what hour it is, I just become a meatloaf. I want to start like, you know, getting home, doing whatever, like washing up, but also like getting into the habit of taking a walk to kind of like reset so that I can do things like work on my homework and write with those hours instead of just completely spending that time decompressing, because I don't think that's helpful for me. I think that's starting to build a bad habit. So finding that balance between like the decompression time, which is really important, and like actually getting stuff done while at home is definitely something I've been grappling with over the past couple of weeks, especially. If I get home and I'm in the mindset of, oh, I'm just gonna sit on the couch until bedtime for the next 3 or 4 hours, that's what I'm gonna do, and my energy is gonna be at that level. But if I psych myself up and go, I am very firmly going to wash up, have dinner, take a walk, and then like actually sit down and write, you know, 300 words, 500 words. I can do that. I've been doing it. I've done it before. I know I'm capable. A big part of that also is space. Different spaces in your life are associated with different modes. For example, this office space, I tend to be productive, creative. So when I'm in this space, I'm more inclined to like sit down at the desk and actually get stuff done. But if I'm in that like downstairs sort of living room couch space, that's a lot harder for me to get stuff done. That is like
TV relaxation space. And yeah, those are kind of my observations lately. Now it's time for homework, and I also have one of Becca Tobar's videos on in the background, which has been really nice and relaxing. I just love having a background vlog on while I try to get some work done, and it's honestly like a nice way to start your morning. I'm trying to like limit my doom scrolling on shorts and Instagram reels, but long form vlogs, you know what, they feel productive, so it's okay. So that's what's going on. We're gonna just dive right into the productive side of things until I have to go. Yeah, let's start.
Normally, I would start my vlogs either over the weekend or like on a Monday. Truthfully, I
Over the 2 days leading up to my birthday, I actually baked vegan brownies and these brown butter chocolate chip cookies I got from Ambitious Kitchen. I just wanted to bring those in for some of my classmates, and it went really well. Come here. Ow! Bro, I'm stressed. So it's Wednesday. I drove an hour to class as per usual, no big deal. And then I drove an additional hour around looking for parking. Like, actually, I'm not exaggerating, it was 1 hour. And I just got so frustrated that I gave up. I went and got ramen by myself. I got yarn so I can like finally crochet something again. But yeah, wow, what a flop. Today was such a flop. I am gonna head to my evening class because I should have parking then. Why? Like, my usual garage full. Every street parking slot full. Every one that wasn't like 25 minutes, and I need 3 hours. So yeah, that's been my day. Bit of a flop. I still have a couple minutes to kill, so I'm gonna just like sit in my car basically and crochet. And my phone is dying. But yeah, that's what today's been like. That's what life is like lately.
Hello. So it's my birthday. Just woke up an hour or so ago, and I made myself a really quick breakfast. Today is mostly a usual day. I have a couple hours, so after I eat breakfast and like get everything ready for the day, I'm probably going to try to get like a really quick writing session in. I've been thinking about my book a lot on these drives, but what's been kind of a bummer about this past week is that although it's been unusually busy, it hasn't really been unusual in terms of the amount of writing I get done. I haven't been making too much of a conscious effort this past week to be more productive at night, just because I have been so exhausted, drained. This week has been better than other weeks, I'm not gonna lie, because there's been slightly less in terms of homework. But it just feels like a constant thing of like staying on top of tasks and trying to just be on top of the necessities, which is, for me right now, school is a priority. The business side of YouTube is kind of a priority, just like responding to emails and dealing with that stuff. And of course making content, because that's my income, and my other part-time job tutoring, which is also my income. So writing has, unfortunately, just naturally, in the grand scheme of that, because you do need money to live and survive, that's kind of fallen to the wayside. And I've talked about this before at length. You're probably sick of hearing me yap about it. As I'm moving more and more into what my life will look like as like a fully established in their career adult, will I have time for writing? And I want the answer to that to be yes, because I love writing. I've written basically my entire life. I've written stories. I want to write books, even if I don't necessarily get anything out of it. But I also do want to write books to get something out of it. Like, I do have that ambition. I do want to keep pursuing traditional publishing until something sticks or I die. Like, that's the end of it. But I know that I need to be better about making time for that. So I've been thinking that for the next vlog, I'm going to wake up earlier. I've been waking up at 8:30, which is kind of late, but like just kind of adjusting my timeline so that I have a couple extra hours, even like 1 extra hour in the morning. I think I'm gonna try that for about a week in my next vlog and see how that goes, because this is not working. I'm not making progress in my writing. I think about my story a lot and I brainstorm a lot, but I'm not actually writing words. I have talked about the soft deadline for Crypts before. It's spring, which feels like a long ways away, but it's really not. Like, if I want to have a polished draft that's undergone beta reads and all that stuff, I need to really like get moving, because I'm not moving fast enough. It's not an anxiety so much as like a reality check. Like, yeah, I want to take this seriously. I want to write very seriously and write professionally, but I also do want to maintain my like day job, because I really like my day job. I think just like taking advantage of those little gaps where I have the time and space, and most importantly, the energy to write. So today we're gonna just write a little bit after I'm done eating and like preparing and stuff. That should give me at least 30 minutes before I have to drive out. Tomorrow I have almost nothing. We're doing some like birthday celebration stuff after I get back, and I'm going to set up for my partner's birthday, which is in 6 days. It's 6 days away from mine. So yeah, that's kind of my resolution for this big age that I am now, which is 27. I'm actually really excited to be 27. I had a little bit of anxiety over like getting closer to 30 for a while, but now I feel like 30 is going to be like the best years of my life. So yeah, take myself more seriously, be just more, not go with the flow, but like more decisive, make plans better, just plan things out better, and budget my time better. Yes, and sorry, I got completely off track, but tomorrow is going to be mostly a free day, so during my free time I'm going to write because I shouldn't have that much homework stuff. Saturday, also a free day, and then I'm going to end this vlog on Saturday because Sunday I have work. Yeah, I kind of like spacing them out. So instead of doing a vlog every week and filming a vlog every week, I do one every couple of weeks and just kind of like show a snapshot, because otherwise it'd get really repetitive, and I already feel like vlogs can be a little bit repetitive, especially mine because I don't do that much. So yeah, happy birthday to myself. I'm gonna eat and then write and head out.
Look who's on the bed. Hi, Minnie. Hello. So I had my birthday celebrations yesterday and that was a lot of fun. I actually did not get any footage. I completely forgot. But now we're going to lock in. I have the day off today, so I'm going to spend that time wisely. I'm going to write and aim for probably around 1,500 words. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but my vocal training for this book is like classic gothic novels. While I'm not fully calling this a gothic fantasy because it has so many non-gothic elements that I think kind of make it less of a pure gothic fantasy, the atmosphere, tone, and voice are very heavily influenced by the classics, so I'm reading Wuthering Heights. I just got a copy of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, so if anyone has other classic gothic recommendations, I'm really looking to like seep that voice into my brain. So I started out the morning with a bit of reading, and now, you know, I have my caffeine in me, I'm ready to go. I do have some emails to send out and respond to, some like work scheduling to do, so I'll take care of that first because that's boring and not fun, and then I'll dive into writing, maybe after a little bit more reading to get my brain in that headspace. Feeling good about that. Again, we're gonna aim for 1,500 words. I don't know, maybe I should say 2,000, but that feels a little bit ambitious with my current pace. In terms of what I'm working on now, I'm still aiming to finish like at least chapter 1 by the end of this vlog, but I feel like the shape of the story is still kind of loose. Like I'm still figuring out the pacing, what beats I want to hit, so a lot of this is very intuitive. Like outlining is one thing, and I do have a very firm idea of like what happens in the story, but actually putting it down on paper and figuring out what happens and what happens internally, it's a little bit more difficult and intuitive. And I think it is difficult to plan out things like how a certain scene will affect a character, how relationships shift and change, and how stuff like subtext will like shift and change and intensify. So there's a lot that you can only kind of figure out in the moment, at least in my case, and I'm definitely still in that process. That's my morning update. I'll update you guys again today as I finish writing. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Emails, things have spiraled. Emails turned into me working on my sponsorship calculator. So if you are an author tuber, or you know, you make videos in general and you accept sponsorships or you're thinking of taking them and you don't know how much to charge, let me know. I have a calculator. I will let you know. But yeah, so that was really distracting. I'm getting back on track now though. I'm getting back on track. We're working, we're being productive.
Look at what my boyfriend got me for my birthday. Stylish.
Okay, I'm stopping for now because we're getting birthday dinner soon. Joint birthday dinner. But I got 721 words into the document for today, and I'm gonna talk more about voice. Right now I'm kind of not focusing so much on voice and just getting the words out there and kind of like playing around with different voices and stuff, and once that solidifies I'll edit for voice, which is a really weird and intuitive process that is literally entirely based on vibes, but I can talk about it a little bit when I get to that stage. The first chapter does read a little bit slow, but I think that with a fantasy that has a gothic tone and vibe, you don't necessarily want to rush things. Like a lot of gothic fiction in general is predicated on like this building of suspense and this slow, gradual noticing of strangeness, and that plays into a lot of my favorite types of horror as well because I love gothic horror. So I'm kind of leaning into that and letting myself have a slower start. The thing that I've realized works for slow starting books, like stories that don't jump into the thick of the plot right away, is like immediately seeding mystery. Like you want your readers to have questions right away. You don't want to answer them right away, but you want the reader to be like, oh, that's weird, I want to figure out what that's about. So that's kind of what I'm doing with the first chapter or so of Crypts. A lot of this is going to be figuring out the motivations of the main character because it is such a main character driven story, which I wasn't originally gonna have a B, but it is now. Moths was also very similar. For me, I wrote it so that the reader would want to figure out the main character's past, and this is more like, what is she planning and what is she gonna do? It's a little bit of a change of pace, but still very much my vibe. I can't wait to really play around with some of the like deeper and more relevant themes that I was thinking of. They're kind of showing their colors here, but it's not going to really get into it until we start getting more meaningful character interactions. And there's a lot of characters in this book that are all relevant and all have a part to play and all have specific arcs that I've designed for them in this story, and all kind of like tie back into the main character's arc. There are 3 side characters in particular, maybe 4, who are super relevant to the main character and represent different facets of her basically, and different like desires and needs and conflicting internal stuff. Introducing those characters is gonna be a freaking drag though, or just like juggling their, I don't want to say screen time, but basically screen time, and how much weight they have in the narrative and the plot, even though they all have like a lot of weight in her story. Moths I feel like was so much smaller in terms of the amount of characters. The scope of that was much more limited. You had your main character Lark, who was just like the main character and the story was about her. There were 2 other characters who were really relevant to her story, and outside of that everyone else was kind of just like, not that they were just there, but they just didn't have to have as much weight. But I really want like these 3, maybe 4 characters to have a ton of weight in this story, which is gonna be tricky because it's first person. Yeah, but I'm having fun with it. I love these characters already. I love this world. It's basically just like aristocratic family drama. So kind of like a gothic fantasy version of the Kardashians. Not quite. I just say that because it's really funny to me, but I think that like rich people family drama is so interesting and it's so specific, and it also persists across the ages. Rich families have been very wild forever, and that's the main reason that I wanted to write this book, is that I wanted to explore these family dynamics in this like really rich, powerful family. Powerful in a lot of different ways too. So I'm having fun with it, and it's going well. It is going slow, but it's going well, and it's going a little bit faster than before, which is really all you can ask for. Okay, so I'm gonna go to dinner and then I'll update you guys in a little bit. Bye.
Hi, I think I have a sinus infection. I just started feeling like really crappy yesterday and now. I mean, I feel not as bad as I did last night, but I still have this like tension here. My jaw hurt really bad until I took an Advil. I just feel kind of like tired and not with it 100%. But yeah, today's the last day of the vlog. We are actually going apple picking as a little like fall autumnal birthday thing in a little bit here. So I just answered a bunch of emails, set up my clients for tomorrow. I am now going to check and see if I have any homework that I forgot about, which is very likely. With how I was feeling yesterday, I did finish the day with 700 words, but we're getting close to the end of chapter 1. The issue that I'm running into with chapter 1 is that nothing happens of any substance. It's weird because I don't hate it, like I don't mind the chapter in its current state, but I know that something more needs to happen. I have a couple ideas, but compared to how this chapter 1 was with the original form of the draft, where I had like not had the main character be this way, in the original chapter 1, so it's completely different now, she, the main character, lives kind of in this like city that's about to face a big storm. A child from her community goes missing in the storm basically, so she goes out and like goes and saves this child. So it's like very doing something forward. I'm not even gonna say action because it wasn't very actiony, but there was like a very present immediate goal. Here not so much, because it's more about unfolding the mystery of Alessia, the character, like why is she like this, why she come here. So it's more mystery, less stuff happening. I'm wondering if I could have something happen that kind of like cements. I like it when scenes multitask. I don't like to just be like, oh, something needs to happen, I'm gonna make it happen. That kind of like establishes who she is as a character and how she conducts herself and what she's got going on under the surface through something a little bit more actiony or suspenseful. I might have her meet another character before the chapter ends. Oh my god, I'm so congested. She meets with the main lady of the house and they kind of have a chat. So maybe I should add in another character who lives in this household and make them all like converse. I'm gonna try it out and see. I have like an hour or so here. When I come back, I'll write a little bit again, and then before dinner, I'll end this vlog and we'll see. Hopefully chapter 1 will be finished. If not, I have an excuse. I'll show you guys the apple picking as well. It should be a pretty good day.
Twist. art.
Very cute.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I just put like 1,400 words into the document. Chapter 1 is more or less finished. There are definitely parts that I want to go through and tweak just to like make it sound smoother and really refine that voice. I was also going back and reading through my original chapter 1, and I've noticed that there's like a lot less world building detail and world texture in this version of the chapter. Generally speaking, this is going to be a draft that kind of moves away from that world building focus that I had originally and kind of not puts that in the background, but deprioritizes it to kind of focus on the main characters and their relationships and all that character driven stuff, right? So that was like a weirdly good writing session just now, and even though I'm feeling a little bit icky still and I'm feeling a little tired, that was really good, and I'm so glad that I got that first chapter finished. Chapter 2 is kind of another beast. That's the chapter where the main character actually meets her, I'm gonna say, love interest for now, and you find out a little bit more about her as well, because in the first chapter you see who she pretends to be, you see that facade, and at the very end of the first chapter you see like a glimmer of who she really is, and the second chapter explores that a little bit more. So that's kind of the structure I have for those. Again, I'm like not super concrete on what scenes I'm gonna use to pull off this like character journey that I'm trying to write, but you know, it's like working so far. And I did just want to say that because I've already filmed a couple of vlogs for this book, and because I had gotten kind of significant progress into the first version of this book that I was working on and then completely changed everything, I wanted to talk like just a little bit in this outro about what that means, why that happens. As a writer, I'm someone who very much does not like to follow my first instinct, or I'm okay with not following my first instinct. I'm very okay with killing my darlings and just like scrapping entire chapters, entire books, concepts, characters, if something that I feel like is stronger, or more specifically that I'm more drawn to, arises. And so now I have this slightly less fully fleshed out concept, but I'm much more drawn to it. I am much more motivated to work on it. I'm like daydreaming about the characters. I'm excited about this project. I'm excited about the themes and like exploring those themes and learning more about them. And prior to this sort of like realization, my main point of excitement, the main thing that drew me to the story, was the world building, which I had talked about in previous vlogs, and to some extent the characters as well. But I think I've gotten to the point as a writer, and this might just be me like parroting Chris because she says this a lot, but I think I've gotten to the point where if I'm going to write an entire book, I want to get something out of it for myself. Like, I want to be able to explore a theme that holds meaning to me, which in this case, there are several themes that hold a lot of meaning to me. I want to have a good time with the characters. And generally speaking, those are the things that draw me in more so than world building. Even when I am consuming media, I don't care so much about the world building. Like, I do care, but that's not the reason I'm there. That's not the reason I'm seated, I'm reading. I'm always there for the characters and the themes. So with that in mind, you know, this new theme heavy, character heavy direction is really working for me creatively. Like, I'm so inspired right now, and now that I've kind of like got my footing in terms of the writing pace, I think I can get this drafted by January, fingers crossed. I am going to take you guys along for that whole journey, so if you enjoyed this vlog, if you are interested in Project Crypts, and if you'd like to hear more about it, be sure to subscribe. If you got this far in the vlog, please feel free to drop a little coffin emoji in your comment to kind of like represent Project Crypts as well, because that's kind of the emoji I've been using. Before, when I was working on Project Moths, I was using a butterfly emoji to represent it because there is no moth emoji. Apple, please get it together. I need a moth emoji stat. But I do think Crypts is nicely represented by a coffin. So that's what we're gonna use to kind of like signal that we're all Project Crypts fanatics. I don't know. I'm loopy. Thank you so much as always for your support. Sorry that this vlog was a little bit weird. I might start filming vlogs like these on a shorter timeline, like instead of having it follow me through the week when I don't write as much because I'm super busy with other stuff. I'll probably concentrate it on these days when I actually am able to prioritize writing. That is all for today. I will see you guys next time. Bye.